Okay, so once you install an atom, right, so the local system it will be installed in this particular folder, C Boomi Atmosphere.
Okay.
And then it depends on whatever the atom name you will be giving, and you'll be creating one folder with the name atom hyphen the name you have given while installing. So once you install an atom, this is where exactly this is a path, we can call it as a Boomi atom home directory. So once you install here, there are certain things we need to understand. Once you go into bin directory. If you want to restart, your atom, there are certain cases where you need to restart. Let's say you have configured some custom libraries. Let's say if you are using a database, okay, when you are using a database for Oracle and MySQL server, by default the Boomi atom will be getting the corresponding drivers. But if you are trying to use MySQL or any other custom based SQLs, like some
Mhm.
open source databases softwares are there. If you want to configure your Dell Boomi with that, you need to get the corresponding drivers, and you need to place the drivers into the class path. Boomi class path means depends on the connector. We have to go through the connector document. They will be asking you to create one folder called user here, asking you to create one folder called user, something like you can see here, user. I think somewhere I'll show you while working with the database. I'll show you. You need to create
Okay.
one directory here, user. Under then you need to put database, because like if you are using for JMS, you need to put for JMS. Like different ways. What you can do, you can configure all the corresponding libraries. So and then you can need to restart an atom to reflect these changes. In that case, if you want to restart an atom in Windows, we can do two ways. One is we can directly go for services.msc. We can directly go to services.msc, and there we can find the particular atom service, atom-boomi underscore atom. Then we can just click on restart. That will be either start and stop or restart. It will be restarted. You can restart or stop and start.
Okay.
So this two way, this is the one way how we can restart an atom. The other way would be you can just navigate to command prompt from here and then click on the restart back. When we can double click on restart back, the what exactly it will do, it will be trying to verify whether it is already running. It will be stop and then start again. But when you click on, if you get any error, like when you double, you can run the batch file by double clicking. But only thing is when you get an error, you won't see anything. It will just one prompt will come and start and trigger and then it will go. So that's the reason if you directly navigate to the particular directory and then in the command prompt, let's say like this here. If you just copy this directory and open this command prompt and go for change directory to the particular atom bin directory and then restart back. If you click on like this, or if any error also, it will be showing here in this command prompt. It will be showing in this command prompt, the basic command
Okay.
prompt that we have initiated, right? So initially it was stopped and then it is asking for start. Okay. After it started, right? We already mentioned as part of this batch command to close the um, close command prompt automatically. After the task gets finished, we have mentioned to exit. Always whenever we have done, we just mentioned exit. Means as soon as when stop and start happens, then automatically the command prompt also will be automatically exiting. And then once we verified, there will be a restart log also will be generating to check that whether restart has been happening or not. If any errors also, it will be writing over there. You can see in the same folder path, restart log also will be available, and you can see it's updated with the same date 8/2.
Mhm.
So this is the way how we can restore an atom. You can see that atom executing stop atom. You can see today's date. Whenever it is starting, right? Whenever it is starting the script, it is actually trying to print the date time here. You can see that. It is printing the date time to the log file. So after that only it actually starts all the processing. First it will check whether it's stop or not, and then after that it will be starting an atom. If you're already starting, then go for stopping, and then after stop will be there, and then it will going for starting. So basically this is the call action atom. It will be start. So once it start and stop, automatically first it will be creating a date when it was restarting. After that executing stop, and then it is executing start. So after restart is happened, there is one more thing you need to understand here. So while installing an atom, there might be, let's say you have installed what is the prerequisite for this atom to be installed is JRA should be available in your system. Means internally
What is it?
JRA, Java Runtime Environment,
Okay.
because all your atom will be required will be run on the JRE. So it's all whatever the installation with the installation of all the atom, you will be getting supported files for running your all Boomi processes. So that will be running on the, because it's all like a Java based. So that's the reason it will be required JRE. So if you don't have an information in the JRE while after downloading your atom file, and then when you double click on the right click on the click on administrator, what exactly will be asking you to check whether a JRE been available in your system or not. If the JRE is not available in your system, it directly asking you to download it. So you don't need to go any site, it will directly ask you to download. When you click on download button, automatically it will be downloaded. And after that only it will be actually that setup, the atom setup prompt will be available, and then it will be asking for you to enter the Boomi credentials. Means by default
Okay.
it might have asked you immediately. The reason is already your system might have the JRE version. The JRE version is not
Okay.
available. First it will ask you for download. So let's say you already have a JRE version, and you have installed a older version of the JRE. Let's say you are using 1.7 version, and some point of time they wanted to upgrade this 1.7 to 1.8. Then how do you see? You just go for install 4J, then you can see installed JRE. This is two types of a CFG file will be there. Install JRE. It means whatever the JRE has been used for the installation, that will be available here.
Mhm.
And other one would be the preferred JRE. Whatever the JRE is preferable, you have mentioned. If you want to change this, let's say you are using this it's currently 1.8. Assume that it's 1.7, and then this also 1.7. If you wanted to uh, upgrade it to 1.8, what you need to, you have to take the correct path, and then take a backup of these two files. You just copy this in case something happens, right? Your atom will not be started. So backup of this, and then edit these two files with 1.8 version, and then restart your atom. Once once atom gets restarted, even you can be able to see that the atom is being using which version, Java version it is been using. You can just go for manage, and
Mhm.
then go for atom management. You will be getting this window. Once you click on an atom, go for startup properties, you will be able to see what kind of what version of Java it is been using here. Whether it's 64-bit or 32-bit, or it's Java version is 1.7 or 1.8. So after restart, even you will be able to track when was the last restart that may happen.
Mhm.
So basically it will give some other information like regarding OS version and other hardware related, but we don't require all these things. When you go for atom information, we can see what type of an atom this is. This is a local atom. This is an
Okay.
on-premise atom. This is not a cloud atom. Even you can see there is a symbol called cloud symbol here. It means that this particular atom is in cloud. You can see the type is cloud.
What significant difference does it make, Bhima, for the cloud atom and for the atom on your
See, for the
system
cloud,
or
within the
Linux?
cloud atom, some of the on-premises application will not be able to cloud atom. With this cloud atom, you will not be able to connect to on-premise application. Let's say database. As I told you that you are using a cloud is atom, and you are trying to
Mhm.
connect to your database will not be set in a cloud. Somewhere it will be on some machine, some specific machine you
Mhm.
are trying to connect to a database using the cloud atom. In that case, it will not be connected.
Okay.
So cloud atom will be mostly used to connecting to the cloud applications. It's not all the cases,
Okay.
but most of the times. But there are certain cases where like if you want to database or other things, you will not be able to access with the cloud. So that's the reason we will be installing a local atom or an atom in the same host as same as the database. So that will be
Okay.
accessible. And then you can see once you come back here and you can see there are startup properties. Go for properties here. You can see the some of the information basic here. When you in the basic, right, you will be able to see the atom name. Basically, when you will be setting the atom name while installing an atom in the setup prompt page,
Mm-hmm.
you will be setting an atom name. If you want, you can change the atom name further here. Even you can change the host name as well. And then whatever the processes you are running on this particular atom, it will be each and everything, it will be stored in data or like a log information, all the things will be there. But if you want to
Mm-hmm.
remove that log information, like how many number of days you want to store, that will be by default, it will be storing 30 days. If you want to
Okay.
store more than 30 days, or you want to be, if you want to immediately purge as soon as process gets completed, you want to clear the log, you can just check out this checkbox. This is not at all
Okay.
recommended because like you'll be scheduling your processes and you will not be get noticed that your process got failure 3 days ago. Then you
Mm-hmm.
want to check. If you just directly check this one, right, what happens? You will not be having any logs to verify why your process was failure. So that's the reason we have to put at least 30 days or 25 days we have to put.
Mm-hmm.
So that we'll be having an idea if any particular process got failure, we'll be having a logs will be there. So using that log, we'll be having the clear idea. So once you've done these changes, right? Once you've done these changes, you click on save and then click on this checkbox. What is the checkbox? Restart and save. Means as soon as you click on a save, the atom will be restarted. So because why you are restarting? Because you have done some changes. It has to be reflected. You will be changing an atom name and a host name. If you change anything or purge number of days,
Vima,
yeah.
this host name basically is the host where you are working out on, or if it's on a cloud, will it change? I mean, what exactly is that secret?
I actually did not verify what cloud name. I basically it will be give the host name. Whatever the cloud means, that will be installed on some particular atom, right? Some particular machine.
Mm-hmm.
Some it will be accessible to all of the throughout internet. Maybe that particular host name will be available. Okay, let's see here what is available. Okay, actually it is they are not hiding showing this property account properties only. Okay, I think we have account properties. You can see that host name is not given.
Okay.
Host name is not given, and for the cloud atom that they are, by default they are mentioning one day as a history, but one
So
day
it's
will not be sufficient for us.
mm,
Okay. Once if you do any changes, you have to restart your atom to reflect these changes. That you don't need to go there and you can directly click on save and then click on the checkbox. That will be restarted automatically when you click on save.
okay.
These are some specific atom specific directories to do, change your atom behavior. This is not required. Okay, this is basically what we want to understand after installing an atom.
So, how do you significantly define atom, Vima? Is it a runtime structure where
Yes,
all your
you can call it as a runtime server.
okay,
It's a runtime server. Actually, in other technologies, we'll call it as a server, right? Here, we'll call it as an atom. That's the only difference.
okay,
Only just kind of naming conventions. Okay, once you are there, and then let's see, we'll create a small process that will be with this we'll get to know how to create a process and how to run the process. And in this process, what I'm going to do, I'll just wanted to print the current data. So why do we need to print that? Why do we need to understand? This is why we are creating this process, is to understand in what time zone your atom was running. First of all, why do we need to understand why do we need to understand the time zone of the atom where it is installed? Basically, it will be required whenever you are scheduling your process to run for let's say every 10 days or every 1 week or every 10 minutes you want to run or every 1 hour. Let's say you want to schedule a process. But when you schedule a process, then let's say a client will be telling you that you wanted to run your process to be every day, it should triggered, let's every day once, it should be triggered at say, 7 p.m. PST. Okay, 7 p.m. PST, Pacific Standard Time Zone. Whenever it's 7 p.m. PST, your process should be triggered. So whenever you scheduling, I'll show you how to schedule in the atom management. In the atom management, we can the deploy, basically we can schedule it, because the trial account, the deploy will be blocked and it is not accessible. No, I think here we can see it, because once if any process got deployed and it is showing the list of process, once you click on the process name, you will be able to do the scheduling here. Let's say as the
Okay.
client told that he wanted to trigger at 7 p.m. PST, what you will do, you'll just, as soon as you click on a scheduling configuration, they'll be asking you to configure this timing. Like you want to trigger every day or every 10 minutes, or like all the configurations will be asking. And basically what you'll set, will be set the 7. It means that 7 is, first of all, you need to understand
Mhm.
what time zone your atom was there. If you set your 7, right, your atom will be starting that particular process at 7 p.m. Corresponding to Bhumi atom time zone. Whatever the atom you are
Okay.
being deployed and you want to run this process on this particular atom, that particular atom will be trying to trigger your process on the 7 p.m. as per the atom time zone. But your requirement is to trigger your process to be at specific PST time zone. It means you need to understand what time zone it was there. Let's say if your time zone was there, CST time zone, your atom got installed, and then what is the time difference between CST and PST? 3 hours. So when you're setting a scheduler, you have to accommodate this 3 hours duration also, so that your atom will be triggered, process will be triggered at right time. Because if you don't know the time zone, how many number of hours you need to adjust, that's you are not sure. That's why
Okay.
we
Okay.
need to understand the what time zone your atom was installed. By looking at this, we will not able to understand what time zone it was there. Sometimes if you are, let's say you are working from offshore, all your cloud, your local atoms will be installed in ES if you are a US client.
Mm.
So by default, all things will be there CST. But somehow you think it might be there in EST, or somehow atoms it might be there in PST also. But to understand all these atom time zones, we have to run the process that with the current time zone, with current date time. So we, whatever the current time zone it will be giving, with that current time zone will be just creating the one process that will run on, that will, when you run this particular process on the atom, when you run the current date time, what it will be doing, it will try to print the current date time on that particular atom. So that by looking at the atom and a time zone, we'll be able to get exactly what time zone. We can just take a Google help and we can see the what time zone it was there, current date time.
Okay.
So if you want to create a process, you just click on create component, or even you can just click on create process. All of the things will be same. When you click on process, also it will be new process will be gets created. When you click on create component, it will be asking you to which component you want to create. By default, the process will be the default component. Let's click on create. So when you click on create process, the process will be opened like this. And then if you
Mhm.
want, you can rename this process name. And then, as I told you that Boomi is an integration tool, middleware tool. It will be in the application architecture. It will be there in middle. Means it might get the data from external application. It may need to send the data to the external application. So if you are, while your integration process want to start the process while reading data from some external application, then you need to configure a connector. Let's say that my processor has to trigger as soon as any records has been updated in Salesforce, or any records updated in my particular database, I want to run my process. Okay, I want to run my process by connecting to the database and query some particular records. Then we will be using the connector. Means while starting a process, you need to have a data. You need to have a data. If you want to connect to the data source to get the data, then you'll be configuring the start shape with connector. Because for every Boomi process, the execution will be the start from the start, because this is the starting point for the process execution. So if you
So
want, go ahead.
yeah, sorry, Vima. Yeah, concept of component అంటే exactly it is basically any component, or what is that component? It's just a process, or it is just
See, it is a piece of a connector. See, in the demo, you might have seen a connector adapter. Basically, the Boomi
uh,
will be having a set of shapes, or we can say activities. In terms of Boomi, they'll call it as a shapes, SHAPS.
mhm,
In other integration tool, they'll call it as a activities. What basically it will be doing, there are certain shapes has been given. Each and every shape will be a specific task. So it depends on requirement. We have depends on the functionality we need to do. We need to use specific shape. So let's say you are getting some CSV data, flat file data. You want to convert that into an XML before sending it to the some external system. In that case, we'll be using map. Map basically used to translate the data from one format to another format. Like there are certain use cases, specific each and every shape will be doing specific task. So
mhm,
entire course will be an understanding how you will be using all these shapes to build a customer requirement.
okay.
So the
So
connectors
because
basically connectors basically play a key role only when you want to connect to external applications either for reading or writing data. Otherwise, the connectors will not be coming into the role. And also, connectors will be playing a key role when you want to do some kind of a lookups. Let's say I'm getting some a request. I'm getting some CSV file that have around 100 customer information, and I want to insert this 100 customer information into my database.
mhm,
Let's say I want to do the 100 customers into my database, or I want before then you will be using the database connector to insert the data into a database. But and one more thing, I wanted to check this particular customer available in the my CRM application, let's say Salesforce. If this customer is available in the CRM database, then only I need to insert into database. It means I'm doing one more checkup, one more the lookup, like if with this customer ID, let's say I have 100 customers. For each customer, I'll be taking a customer ID as a identifier to look up in the Salesforce. The Salesforce, if this customer ID is available, then only I am proceeding it to the further for processing into database. It means that you are using a Salesforce connector, any other connector as a lookup. So here we are not
mhm,
actually getting any, we are not trying to get any data, we are not trying to retrieve any data for using in our Boomi process, but we are doing some kind of a lookups. Whenever you want to read some data from external systems, when I say external system, it might be a file or FTP or SFTP or database, might be any external application or anything, then
mhm,
it will be a connector. Even for sending also, writing or sending also, it will be a connector. Do any lookups, this is also a connector. This is the basically where we need all the connectors. And once the data is available, okay, you are connecting to some external application using the connector, and you retrieve the same data from the some source application. And then once you get the data, how you wanted to do, what kind of a, you want to do any kind of validation, or you want to do some kind of a processing to some external systems, or before processing you want to do some kind of a translation or validation. All these things you'll be doing with these shapes. And you want to write anything, again you'll be going for connector for writing it to the external application. But in between, once you get the data and before writing, whatever the transformations that you require, all these things will be doing with these specific things.
okay. So execution and logic will be used
Yeah, you can say these are the
between the
two palettes. Two palettes. Each palette has certain set of activities. You can see this in one of the palette. In the palette, you can see some of the activities has been grayed out. It means the trial account, this particular things has been blocked. It.
okay,
Only these things available in the license account.
okay. But will you be explaining those
For
through a
that,
license account?
I'll be expecting to use your account for doing sessions on this.
Okay.
Okay, so let's click on it. Once as soon as you create a process, you'll be getting this window. Click on configure, just highlight mouse and click on configure, or else even you can double click on it. Both will be same. So once you click on configure, as of now we don't want to connect to any system to retrieve any data. What we want to do, we just wanted to print a current date time. So let's go with the no data. If you're configured with the no data, you can maybe you can use later, you can schedule this process, or you can, and let's say you are like you have some requirement and you all your requirement uh, interface into, you have chunked into multiple process for reusability. Okay, like a parent child process. And if you want to call a child process from a parent process, child process start shape should be using this data pass through. If you are not using a start shape with the data process for the child processes, you cannot use this particular process from the parent process.
లేదు నాకు అర్థం కాలేదేమో ఇది అంటే లైక్ వాట్ డస్ ఇట్ మీన్ ఎగ్జాక్ట్లీ అంటే
See, let's say you
డేటా
have a
పాస్.
parent process. You have a parent process. Let's say you have a process called parent process P and the child process C. Okay, you have these are the two different processes.
ఏమైనా ఎగ్జాంపుల్ చేయగలుగుతారా అంటే ఎట్లా ఉంటుంది?
Okay, let's say you wanted to do a parent process. This is purchase order process. Okay, purchase order process, let's say, and I do have another process that will be calculating the get total price. Another, I will be having another child process called calculate shipping cost. Based on the purchase order, based on the purchase order, the customer will be having a purchase order information. In that order will be having a multiple items. For each and every items, I will be calculating the process. For all the items, I will be calculating the price. So when I want to shipping it to specific location based on the country, like I will be having some shipping calculation will be there. Let's say if these two are the child process, I want to use these two child process in the parent process. In that case, since these are child process and I want to use the child process in the parent process, for these processes, each and every process they will be having a start shape. It doesn't matter whether parent or child. Boomi process nothing but it's a end of the day, it's a process. It's a child, we are whether we are using a child process or whether we are using as a parent process, it is a child, it's a process. Process means all the process that will be as a start shape would be there. It's a mandatory and we cannot remove this. You can see that. You can see some help document. You cannot remove. It's automatically added to each new process and it cannot be removed.
Okay, so any process ki మనం we should start off with a start. That's what you're saying. That
That
character is
automatically
there.
gets created. We cannot remove it. That's automatically added it. Each and every time when you create a new process, it automatically added start shape. But if you want to use this particular process as a child process, you have to configure the data pass through. Let's say in this case, you are creating a two process called get total price and calculate shipping costing, and you want to be use this as a child process. So make sure you will be using the start shape with data pass through.
Okay.
And the parent process, it when this depends on you, like whether you are using any connector or no data, that might be different. Even if you want to use this parent process also as a child process in another process, again you will be using the start shape as a data pass through.
Okay.
So that's how we'll be using it. As of now, we'll go through one by one, but we'll go through with no data as of now. We'll show you when you are doing a parent and child process in the license account. I'll be showing this thing. Go for no data, and then I want to print current date time. We have a ready-made inbuilt function available. Have ready-made inbuilt function available. Go for message data. Go for message. And here in this message we want to configure what we want to print. Even you can write a static and dynamic data. If you want to write any static data, you can write here. Let's say you can write anything. It's a free flow text. You can write anything. I want to just print like today date is I want to use the current date function. Already have inbuilt function. Go for variables, click on plus, and in that drop down you can just select the date time, and by default will be their current date. and then select this is a format, because always we'll select the date marks that have the milliseconds also.
ఓకే సో ఈ ఎగ్జాంపుల్లో మనం బేసికలీ యూఆర్ జస్ట్ ప్రింటింగ్ అ డేట్ ఫార్మాట్ అండ్ స్టాటిక్ మోడ్, రైట్?
Yeah, so by with this current date we'll be able to identify what time zone it is running our particular atom. So if you want to this particular date to be printed, we have configured it, but we want to print the result, we have to refer this particular function with this placeholder. You can see this placeholder here. We have to put it here so that the data will be printed in this format. The runtime this placeholder will be replaced with this result of this function. Okay, let's say I want to print, yeah, just will
I was
the
asking that is for
placeholder.
placeholder. Okay.
Placeholder. This placeholder will be removed, will be replaced at runtime with the result of this function. What is the result of this function? It will print the current date in this particular format.
Okay.
Let's say I want to print next day. I want to print one day, next day, future date. Go for date time the same way. Instead of you select the current date time here, you just select the relative date. Relative date.
Okay.
So how many number of you want to? It will be relative date is basically based on uh, current date as a base. For that current date will be relative. Whether you want to decrease or whether you want to go for past or future, that will be decrease. You can see whether how many number of you can just select the different types of an argument here. Seconds are like I want to go for 1 day back. Like I want to go for 1 day plus future date. Okay. You can just see what date will be. It means indirectly will be adding 1 day to the current date. Instead of you add all the like if you are adding a 2 hours or 20 hours or 10 hours or 10 minutes, you already we have inbuilt functionality here for adding also. Then
Uh-huh.
I want to just stop the process. It doesn't matter even if you don't put here also, you don't connect anything also, because there is no further activities, there are no further steps here. Process will be stopped automatically, but it will be give more readable when you click on drag and drop start end activity. Then connect each and everything. Select this red and highlight. When you highlight your mouse, you will see the diamond symbol. You select is the left click and then drag it towards on this and leave it now. So then you can see it automatically connected. If you want to disconnect again, just drag it mouse up and hover the mouse here. You can see a diamond symbol and then select left click and then do it left or right. So it automatically disconnected. You want to connect again, when you see the diamond symbol, just select click and then drag it towards on that. So automatically be connected. If you want to give some any label, you can just give some label names. Basically, why do we give label names, right? So by giving label names, it will be more uh, the complete logic. If you don't give the proper naming, right? So if you want to do understand what particular the functionality this particular shape is doing, he has to understand his analyze. He has to analyze this particular logic, whatever logic you have configured. So instead of it is he analyze, like let's say you have developed your process and one of your colleague might have to enhance the process. But if you want to enhance the process, you need to understand what particularly this process is doing. So if you are for analyzing each and every step, each and every piece of a code, what this particular doing is thing, you can just give a label name. So by looking at the label name, you will be able to understand what this particular shape is doing instead of digging into the configuration level. Okay. Now
Okay.
we are ready, and then click on save. A process is saved, and then click on test. So here it will be asking you what particular atom you need to select for running this atom, for running this process. Okay, let's say select I want this is a cloud atom, test atom cloud, and this is a local atom. Let's say let's use a local atom.
Okay.
Process will be initializing. can see once the process has run, you can see the green icon. If any errors occurred, you can see some red color icon, the execution will be stopped in middle. Okay, now you can see we have print, but if you want to see the output of this one, you can see what time it is taking. You can we have set the first parameter is the current date. Okay, in this particular format. So you can just see that 2016 08 02 and 07 is a month and 50 oh sorry, here 08 is a month and 02 is a date and 7 is hours, 15 is a minutes, and then 50 seconds is seconds. And if you see from this current date to you are doing a relative data for 1 hour, so 1 day, so it will be same date but only it will be increment will be the one date. Here you have a date is 2, here date is 3. So you can basically when you want to do this, right, when you are connecting to some Netsport or Salesforce application, you want to connect the applications which are modified in last 1 hour, and but those are created 30 days before. 30 days before. How you will be considering 30 days before? From the current date you are considering 30 days before. In that case, you can use the relative date. Instead of you adding 30 days to last current date plus 30, right? You can directly use this function, relative date function.
Mm.
Okay. Then we see that we are able to, but I want to see what data exactly you configured it. You can see the result of the function, but I want to see I have, apart from the dynamic data, even I have included static data as well. It means that if you want to see an output of this particular shape, you can see on the next activity shape source data. This is the one thing you need to understand in movie. When you are running a process, if you want to see the output of this particular shape, you can see the next activity on the shape source depth. You will be able to see the what was the output of this particular shape. You want to see
Okay.
the output of this one, you have to see output of here. You have to see the shape source data here. And then click on this edge button to see the data. Because we don't have any data is been passing from the start shape, we are seeing nothing. That's why you can see 0 bytes. Because we have selected no data. Means that it is not at all connecting any data. That's the reason from here to here there is no data. Means there is no output available on here. But I want to see the from here to here what is data is flowing on. But as of now from here to here, from no data to print date, there is no data is flowing. This is empty document, 0.00 KB. But I want to see
Okay.
what is the output of this particular. As I said, if I want to see the output of this print date, I have to click on here and then click on shape source data. So
Okay.
I would be
Suppose
able
in
to see.
a stop petapote vema I cannot see.
Yeah, that's the reason. You have to
Um,
put another thing.
okay.
That's the reason we have one more thing called a notify that is not actually available enabled in the trial account. You can use a notify. You can see on the same tab, same shape output also. That's basically the particular notify has been given in a Boomi process. It will not modify any data. It will just whatever the thing. It will be very similar to the message shape. The way how you configure the static and dynamic data. But the only thing is, if you place anything in the notify, that will be available in the log information. I'll show you that one also, because whenever you are creating any process, it's very important to log the data, what particular error data is been flowing through your process. Let's say you have configured your scheduling a process, and process was triggered at, let's say let's say process was triggered at 7 a.m. and the process was finished by 7:10. Within the 10 minutes the process was completed, but there was some issue with that process. Let's say you are pulling some data from database and you are then converting the data into some other format, and then you are dropping the file to FTP. But there are some issue. I don't know what this is actually the process will do. This process will be running every day. Let's say for a specific time the process was running, but you want to understand why it was failure rate. But if you don't put logging information, because at the end of the process, right, you cannot able to see that where particular step has uh, been errored out. So if you have this logging information, you can able to see at each particular level, this particular this process was up to until which the process was running, and then where it was failure. We will be able to see that information only we can be figured out using the
Notify.
logging data. That can be done
Okay.
with notify. Okay, as of now you can see today date is this one, next day is this one. But as of now we are running in a test mode, we are able to see each and shape wise data, what data is coming for each shape. But when you're running in the deploy mode, right, once you deploy, you're not able to see this. If you want to see any data, only thing you have to put notify. That is the reason
Okay.
whatever the log will be generated each and every time when you run in test mode also, there will be one log will be generating. But how do I see a log file? Click on here, blue arrow, click on view log. But if you see, since we have not used any notify data, I'm not able to see anything. What was the data currently for me? For me the data is I'm printing the date, today's date and next day date. But as of now I cannot able to see that information from the logging at all. When you're running
Mm-hmm.
from administrator, when you're running from the deploy mode, this is what exactly the log will be generated. But if you want to see what data exactly flowing with that particular shapes, you're not able to see anything. Only thing you can use the notify so that the data will be available here. In your have a license account, you can just put notify the same configuration. Same
Okay.
configuration the way how we done in the print. You can see if you go here, once you run, you will be able to see the actual the print data. Today's date and current date data will be available here.
Okay. Instead of message, if you put notify, that's what it is
Put
available.
after message, right? You can just put notify, because
Okay.
since we are not getting any data from here, right? This message actually generating this data.
Okay.
Message
So
actually generating.
basically,
Even you can put the notify also without message, you will be able to see the same information.
okay. So deploying ante when would we be using it, Bema? Generally until like we test it. See, we create a let's say we
Only
create
it
a
will be
interface.
once you, as per your new requirement, let's say you have a client that comes up with a requirement, you'll be building your process, and then you are running this process manually. Okay, running this process
Mm,
manually. Only the developer will be using this run test to debug an application. To debug an application. Once the developer is thoroughly verified a process is working, and then actually your process supposed to be run on live mode. That's what we'll go for deploy.
okay.
So once deploy is good, you will see when you're running in test mode, you will be able to see each and every shapes incoming and outgoing data. But when you're running in live mode, you're not able to see all the data, because if you are getting all these shapes incoming and outgoing data, that will be process will be taking very long time to write all this data, and this will be impact process execution, process efficiency. So that's the reason in the live mode, right, we will not able to see each shapes wise data, what is coming and what is going. So if you want to see that, you just have wherever you want to see the data, you'll just put notify. So always your
Okay.
process will be running once you only the developer will be as part of development changes, he'll be running in run test mode. After that, you have to deploy your application in the deploy tab, and then your process will be running on the process reporting. That will be see a loss, because this is only one time configuration for all the processes. We'll see those things, but we'll mainly concentrate on how we can use different shapes to build our requirement.
Okay.
In the if you have the license account, then so you can just replace this print date with notify, and then you can keep message, and then you can keep notify and see the output.
Okay.
So you will be able to see the data. In the log file will be available. Whatever the data we are seeing here, if you configure same thing in the notify, you will be able to see the same country, same data will be available. Same data will be available from the logging also. From the process log also, you'll be able to see same data. Because we have not used notify here, we are not able to see anything. This same data is not available in from here. Means if you are seeing,
Okay.
if you have understanding log levels, these are different log levels it will be generating. Means first is the severe. Severe means if any issue that is severe, it will be showing warnings. The severe means it will ideally it will be errors. Errors. If any errors, it will be with severe. It will be of type log type severe. And if it is not any problem, but it might be impact your process execution, then those things will call it as a warnings. solve the different log levels. This is a any application, the same log levels will be available. And info means it's just this is what we can see the info. You can see that log level, log info. But this info is not much helpful for the debugging and tracing an application. Only a log level of debug will be helpful for tracing an application. So this debug level up to, say, let's say to configure warning, right? To configure warning, right? If any errors, even here also it will be showing warnings plus
Yes.
severe means errors also be. If you configure info, right? Configure info, you can see the warnings as well as severes and the info. All these things will be there. But if you configure debug, right? You can able to see all these debug, info, warning, severe. But when you run your process in the test tab here, the way how we run now,
Mm-hmm.
basically it will show the debug information. Up to debug log will be showing. But when you run your process and deploy and then you're running the process on the process reporting, basically you will see only this information, info. You will not see the debug level.
Okay.
See, we are using a local run in a test run. It is showing debug. That is the reason we are able to see each and every shapes incoming and outcoming of data. That's the only thing happening because of this debug level. If you are running in a info also, so nothing will able to see anything. Because debug, why they have given the debug level in the test run is, this is more for the developers to debug an application in case of any errors or tracing an application.
Okay.
So when you, that's the reason when you are running any process on the process report, it means live run, sometimes it will give an error, you will not, developer will not able to understand what error it is giving. So that's the reason he'll be coming, he'll run that process again in test run to see what exactly happening, why this particular error is happening. Because when you're running test run, he can be able to track each and every activity, shapes incoming and outcoming data. So it will be easy for developer to trace out the issue.
Okay.
Okay, now I want, let's say we have run the process and what's the date. So this date is actually matching with the IST timing.
Okay, because your atom was installed there in
Exactly.
IST timing.
Okay, let me run this process with a cloud atom. See first, we can test on the right side and then this time select the cloud atom. So once your process gets printed the date, you just have to take Google help. What is the current time for EST? What is the current time for CST? What is the current time PST, Pacific Standard? So it will be definitely, it will be there, any one of the time zones will be there. So you can see its date is 01, it's a 21, 21. It means 9 p.m. So if you just go for,
CST.
it will be there, actually EST will be there. If you want to
CST.
see current CST time now, what's the time? It's a 8:59. Okay, 8:59, but it's a 9:58. You can see this one.
Okay.
So you just Google it for, if you go for PST, it will be 7.
EST should be.
It should be
Okay.
EST. So all your cloud atoms will be installed in EST time zone. Let's say 9:59, it's 9:58. Just run 1 minute before. Means all your cloud atoms will be installed in EST, Eastern Standard Time Zone. So based on that, so if you want to run your process to be run on PST time zone, what's the difference? Around 3 hours time zone will be different. So you just append your time 3 hours and add your 3 hours time to the client time, and then you can configure this particular result of the time. So the process will be triggered as expected.
Okay.
So this process basically shows you how to create a process and how to run a process and how to see the logs. And also in addition, we are just showing how to configure some current date here.
Mm.
So what you can do, you can just try to run this process and tomorrow we'll see how we can read and write a file.
Okay.
After that, first when you're reading and writing a file, we are not modifying any file content. We are actually not anything understanding a file content. We are just doing some kind of a copy operation. After that, We'll just start working on it. What was the file content of the, what was the file content? How we can work with the file content? I'll be showing the file content, how to work with file content. So just only we'll just spend 2 or 3 hours.
Okay.